Got your eye stuff going on?
Yeah.
Got big, he's rolling his eyes around.
I ain't gonna see anything.
No. Editing works. But, you know, twice a day. Basically, like, he puts it in, and then since he sets everything down for his toothbrush and stuff, and then he brushes his teeth while he rolls his eyes around and gets all that eye droppy stuff going on. So, benefit. Wasn't it the fact that they wanted you to do it 3 times a day, but it's absolutely crazy to, like, take it to work, and you might like, taking a pill to work is fine, but when you have eye drops, it's like, what? Anyways, I'm getting myself ready. I just had 3 slices of bread, protein shake, and some coffee this morning. I'm leaving a little bit earlier than necessary, as it's 9:23. I don't need to necessarily be at Amstel until 10:15, but walking to Wieboudstraat, then taking the metro and grabbing at least a chocomel and something from, yeah, will help for after practice. And then Mika will drop me off at the cafeteria and whatnot. And then Aaron can meet me. I'll just tell you this time when we're leaving practice, so that that way you can track progress rather than like, oh, we're dropping off Maxwell down at Holendrecht. Shit. Which was last time. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with that. Because if Marcus is there, Mika's going to want to stick around and talk and go over offensive playbook and stuff. Understandable. So we may not be leaving exactly at 1 or 1:30 or something, but like, I'll try to put a thing in my brain to say, hey, tell Aaron, what's up? We're going. He should not be in the middle of a long 8-person battle on Hearthstone that might take him another half an hour to get done with or something. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, so apparently this trick works. Explain that thing. I'm not denying it doesn't work, it just seems funny. What is it about the gloves?
Oh, so, okay, so you wear latex gloves?
So like surgical, the latex gloves, underneath your football gloves.
Right. So it's just an extra layer to keep you warm. Pro tip.
For those of you that need to keep your hands warm.
It reminds me a little of me.
You all steamy.
I'm steamy?
Hi there. You smoke. You got the steam coming off your shoulder. I'm not sure if the camera can see that though.
That's fine, I'm hot now.
What do you guys think? Thumbs up? Thumbs down?
Subscribe, comment, like, share.
I got 12,667 as is.
Put my Insta tag on there.
Yeah, I will. It'll be in the description.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I put Jimmy's in there down there before. I'm not sure if you got anything out of it or that.
My what?
Your Insta.
No.
Really? Mr. Insta Boy?
Insta boy. Hey, we're not just latex bros, we're Nike bros.
You too. We're not just latex bros. We're not just. I literally just heard that. Latex bros. He's like, oh yeah, we're friends. We're not just latex bros. And I'm like, I can't anymore. I can't. Like, I've done some. Yeah, you're talking about gloves, right? Yeah, gloves. Frank's abusing the water bottles. Thinking to get me a tap when we get back from Georgia.
What now? What's that?
Yeah.
A tattoo is always a good idea, man.
Yeah. Hey,
Like a football.
no, well, kind of. But like, Pinterest. I don't do a lot of Pinterest stuff, but it's always.
You must be serious if you're on the Pinterest.
I'm not. I have a Pinterest just to look at stuff. Oh. Oh, it's one of the drawbacks of actually quitting smoking so many years ago. I gained my sense of smell back.
People smoking.
I smoked for like 13 years and then I quit.
Always
6
smoke
years
your
ago.
luckies, kids.
I only smoke 3.
But then I grew my sense of smell back. And now I smell bleach on everything.
Bleach is not bad. Just don't drink it.
Don't tell me what to do. Okay, you look really old. Are you saying you feel really old? How?
Backside of 20s, man. That's all.
How about the backside of the 30s?
That's grandpa's status right there.
For football? Oh yeah. People are like,
That's like he should have retired 10 years ago.
no. No.
Hey, you still got Tom Brady in the league. He's playing until he's like 60.
Vinatieri?
That's Tom Brady.
No, that fucker's 46. I literally just rated kickers yesterday. I was like, wow, he's really white in the beard. Why is he's 46? But then again, he's a kicker. They can last forever almost. I know, I had to bring it up. He's not. I made sure I had to bring that one up because I figured Cheerian people would kick my ass if I didn't rate the sexiness of the Admiral kicker. I've had some interesting chattings with Mikael on the way home. I showed him where Tomatillo was. Because, like I said, he lives actually really close to us. That's why he gives me a ride and stuff. So that's why I was also kind of weird. I was like, maybe I can just swing by and pick up my phone? But then I realized, oh wait, it's a Friday. He works. But.
And also.
Yeah. Can you help?
Yeah.
Someone complimented my shirt. And I was like, yeah, I wear a lot of orange sometimes, and the Dutch think it's because of being Dutch. And I'm like, no, it's not. And Michael, the guy he transferred on his company from San Francisco to here, but he's actually from Ohio. But he still's like, the other OSU. I'm like, yeah, the lesser known OSU.
OSU, not the OSU.
Yeah. And not. Because there's Ohio State University, Oklahoma State University, and Oregon State University. So there's the Sooners, and Oklahoma is somehow a big deal, but then there's Oregon State. But the thing is, there used to be a thing because, as you've heard over the years, even from Willie, OSU was a big deal when we were.
Yeah.
Like everyone wanted to go to OSU. Like if I did the high school football thing and wanted to stay in Oregon and was, good linebacker, I probably would have been one of those that went to OSU, even living in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And it would have been good at the time. But somewhere in the late 2000s, early 2010s, they got the recruitment hiccup. So, their head coach retired, new head coach came in, didn't like the system that was there, tried to redo the system, wound up moving things around, wound up having a losing season because things were in flux. Then the recruiting thing, I want to get this style quarterback in here. Well, that's not meshing with the O-line we've had. And it just sort of hiccups, and then it's just like, well, you're not doing very good as a head coach. So they fire the head coach, and then a new head coach comes in and says, hey, listen. So they wind up getting in like this until they can keep a head coach around for a long time that builds up a system from the ground up. And at that same time, you had Oregon, University of Oregon, who was working through a system from freshman to senior with Marcus Mariota. And the Ducks got super poignant in the mid 2000s because of that.
Yeah.
And so that's why people were like, oh, you live in Oregon. Are you a fan of the Ducks? I'm like, no, I'm a fan of the Beavers. Oh, the Beavers suck. Beavers have sucked in the last 10 years, but in the last 40 years, the Civil War was very one-sided.
Yeah.
And it was the Beavers. I'm like, oh, really? Why do you really? Oh, also why the Beavers? Because it's a state fucking animal. Duck is not the state bird. It's actually meadowlark or something like that.
It's something stupid.
Or some little bird that most grown adults can fit inside their mouth. that a beaver could also probably fit inside its mouth. Ah.
If only they ate meat.
Beavers?
Yeah. Are they omnivores?
Okay, Google. Do beavers eat meat? Beavers sometimes eat ferns, grasses, aquatic plants, shrubs, and human crops like corn and beans. If food is scarce, beavers may also eat coniferous trees like pine and fir. Beavers never eat meat as their diet is strictly herbivorous. That's the way you say that. It's not herbivorous, it's herbivorous. Yay, English! Oh, do I have a YouTube? Is that a comment? Punting for the people, first time at German zoo. Well, we already did the first time in Dutch zoo. So, I guess he can have his time. He's probably taken pointers from me. Now that he's actually like trying to stay in Hildesheim and do stuff, it makes sense that he's doing things like, hey, you know, now that I'm living here and going to a German school, but I think he's going to be playing for Hildesheim next year because his previous teams that he's been on weren't willing to like work with him to get like a job or do anything for like schooling. He's like, dude, I can kind of pay for stuff and I can work outside of being a punter. You know, and they're like, yeah, okay, it's not really possible. Like, and it's possible that they thought there would be a very specific way you'd need to do it, but like the invaders are like ridiculously flexible, and so he's actually able to stick around and not have to go back to Australia, which is on fire right now. No. I've literally, like, we say California's on fire, and they have, like, the rolling hill that everyone looks at, but, like, there was a drone flying over a field, and it was a sea of fire. It literally looked like high-res Minecraft.
Damn.
Yeah. And people are already posting videos of the fire tornadoes. What was your joke?
Oh man, Australia is the new California?
I think you'd want to have a bunch of Californians go on the Barbie. Bobby?
Bobby.
Bobby.
No.
Shrimp on the Bobby.
Barbie.
Barbie.
Damn it.
Jacob, hi. How do you say that? You're in that Australian accent. I can't ask my friend Bo, because he's got royal Australian accent. Like, I literally thought he lived in England for a while, and then I was like, wait, are you visiting Sydney? He's like, no, I live in Australia. I'm like, you don't sound Australian. But Jacob Templar does. Anyways, that was practice. I sat out near the end. Okay, stood out, because we had some people in for that hadn't been at practice for a while, and we're heading up for Groningen next weekend, and so we only have one practice left. I'm going to be probably active in that one because I'm going to have multiple days of resting rather than Thursday, go to the gym, try to work out some of my angst, and then Saturday, like, oh, my calves hurt, ow, and then go to practice day. The endorphins kicked in enough, but my shoulder is okay. If it feels weird, it just felt, I'm going to test it out again. It still has that weird numb feeling. When I say it feels weird, that's a broad thing. I don't think my collarbone's going to be popping out of my chest anytime soon. And for that guy that commented, yeah, I did break it. Even Mikael didn't know that I broke it in 4 pieces. 4 pieces, I was like, yeah, well, there's the left side, the right side. Those split apart and had a middle piece that went vertical, and then that piece broke in 2. And he's like, oh, what did you do? I'm like, well, I'm a linebacker. Also, it was probably repeated injuries. It probably happened at camp, and then I was like, well, I can deal with it because I have to be manly and deal with pain. So I kept going, and then eventually Jos hit me in the right spot, and it just failed. Then we wound up actually talking on the way to practice about understanding that the collarbone is almost a safety measure, which you understand this one. It was kind of hard to explain to Mikael. But he goes, well, why would you do that? What would you be protecting? And I'm like, I don't know. But the way that I've read about it is that it breaks easily and in the same spot every time. Like, mine was compounded. But like where Kevin has broke his, where Oscari probably broke his, where other people have broken their collarbone. It's within millimeters of the exact same spot. The collarbone's designed to break in that one spot. And it's easy to break, and it makes me seem like the body has a safety mechanism. That if there's a lot of tension being put on the shoulder so that your arm doesn't push in on, say, do other things, or you wreck your AC joint or something, your collarbone just breaks. And your body over time, in many other things, is like, hey, if I break this bone, it's actually kind of easy to heal. And even if it heals a little bit wrong, it's not it's not mission critical.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then some freaking talking apes come by, 50 million years later, and they'll be like, we're going to run our shoulders into each other as hard as we can. Nature's like, what are you doing?